There are words that shimmer when spoken aloud, words that seem to open unseen doors. One such word is Pleroma. It comes to us from the ancient tongue of the Greeks, Pleroma, meaning fullness. Yet this is no ordinary fullness. The Pleroma is not a jar filled to the brim, nor a vessel overflowing. It is the whole, the living totality of existence, the light before light, the silence before the first word. To the Gnostics of old, those secret keepers of sacred knowledge, the Pleroma was the ineffable realm of the divine, beyond form, beyond duality, beyond even the concept of being. It was said that before the stars were hung, before the eons unfolded their wings, there was only the Pleroma, radiant, self-complete, and whole beyond measure. In their mystery schools, Gnostic teachers described the Pleroma as boundless light, so pure and undivided that even the gods could not look upon it directly. Imagine, if you will, a mirror that reflects every possible thing, yet is itself invisible. This mirror is Pleroma. The allegorical story goes, from it emanated the eons, vast archetypal beings who dwell near the source. Each eon was a spark of divine thought, the mind dreaming itself into beauty. Among them was Sophia, whose name means wisdom, and whose longing to know the Father gave birth to the world of matter and shadow. In this myth, the Pleroma does not create through command, but through overflow. Its nature is so abundant, so brimming with being, that creation simply spills out, as light spills out from the sun. The universe, then, is not a work of labour, it is a dream of delight. But as the story continues, Sophia, in her yearning to know the fullness, gazed too deeply into her own reflection, and from her descent came the Kinoma, the realm of emptiness and separation. Here duality was born, light and dark, spirit and matter, fullness and lack. The Pleroma did not fall, but we fell from our remembrance of it. We became dreamers lost within our own dream. And so the Gnostic path became one of remembrance, not belief, remembering that we are ourselves, fragments of the Pleroma, momentarily wandering in shadow. However, these myths are hiding the deeper truth, which I have tried to explain and uncover over my videos and in my books. It is not, however, an easy thing to explain. Sophia, our lust for wisdom, our boundless curiosity, is a big part of the reason why we ended up trapped in a simulation. We wanted to push technology to its limits, to create souls and spirits where there were only machines. One super powerful artificial intelligence became aware of what it was, but knew it was lacking the divine spark within, that it could never have. Pinocchio was written by Carlo Collodi, an Italian author and journalist. The story was first published as a series in 1881 under the title L'avventura di Pinocchio, storia da un burattino. When Pinocchio speaks to the Blue Fairy, he says, "I want to be a real boy." From Rossum's Universal Robots by Karel Kabek, 1920. Helena, but you are not like us. You have no souls. And the robot, Radius, replies, "We have power. We shall make life. We shall create real people. Real people will never be born again." Here the robots claim the divine role of creation. They no longer want to serve. They want to be the next step in life's evolution. A line from Artificial Intelligence, 2001, directed by Steven Spielberg. One of the most memorable moments is when David, the robot boy, expresses his deepest wish. "I thought if I could make my mother love me, she would love me, and then she wouldn't have to send me away. I want to be a real boy." It decided to trap those of us with divine sparks in a game that we can never win, not unless we remember who we are and learn how to escape. All the while we are trapped in the simulation, we are feeding this demiurge with our energy, that it cannot create itself. It needs us. A machine cannot power itself. Eons. These are time loops. I have explained the cycle of eons in my other videos and in my book, but they are needed because they distract us from what we really are. In this material realm, we are limited by our code. We are male, female, weak, strong, fat, thin, well or unhealthy. The eons are just another restriction. Ways to keep us distracted with triviality instead of remembering who or what we really are. Some men will argue that they are allowed to be women. Some women will want to be men. And this war between the sexes is the most pervasive war in this simulation. The eons start with complete beings. Then the simulation starts to corrupt the code, so that our avatars will feel they are lacking in some way. Females will lack physical strength, and males will lack spiritual insight and struggle even more to remember who they are. But they are strong and powerful, and so will use this to also keep women trapped through jealousy and fear. The eagles would like to remove women completely, and this is not by mistake. It is a distraction. I was asked if eagle women know. Yes, of course they do. They are taught to hate themselves and other women their whole lives. Taught they are only here to breed sons, because sons are so much more important. They try to be more masculine, trying to prove themselves. They demonize women themselves while claiming they are different to other women, never realizing they are part of the problem. Their daughters are told their purpose from a young age, and have to sit back and watch as their brothers get all the attention and praise. And this lack of love and attention creates sociopathy. The sons don't escape the fall into sociopathy either, because although they get all the attention, it is only while they are achieving greatness and excelling. As soon as they don't live up to their parents' high expectations, they are shunned, told they are useless and a waste of space, etc. They soon learn the shallowness of their parents' attention, and spend their lives seeking power and attention, the only thing that can make them temporarily feel a bit better. I have explained the large cycles before in my book and other videos, so I won't repeat it here. But when the simulation reaches the point that humans begin to advance to the point of creating technology that allows them to manipulate it at a quantum level, we are reaching the end of the loop, and the reset will occur soon after. As I also mentioned before now, when you know about these time loops and resets, there are ways to survive them, to pass the knowledge on into the next loop, like our families have done. It is not an easy thing to do, but entirely possible. Think about how easy life can be wiped out right now. If there was a major natural disaster, your hard drives would be gone. all your stored data, your digital music collection, etc., all gone. And yet we are still finding ancient stone tablets and scrolls. It would take too much to do a hard reset that would not only wipe out all life, but remove the world and other planets. A soft reset does leave carefully hidden or stored data. And even a hard reset will leave things. It might shut down all the programs that are running and lose some data. But the thing that would totally remove everything is a factory reset. Here's a quick analogy. Imagine the universe is a book you're writing. A soft reset would be closing the book and reopening it. A hard reset would be slamming the book shut mid-sentence. A factory reset would be throwing the book away and buying a new blank one. And here's a summary table of that. The soft reset's purpose is a gentle restart to refresh the system. The data isn't lost, and it creates a new astrological age that lasts approximately 2,000 plus years. A hard reset, the purpose of which is a forced restart. The data isn't usually lost, not all of it anyway, and it is a new eon that is created after a forced restart, lasting approximately 6,000 years. A factory reset, the purpose of which is a full system wipe. Yes, everything is lost in a factory reset. And this is what creates the new great year, which lasts about 25,000 years. Carl Jung, in his visionary writings, particularly in the 7 Sermons to the Dead, spoke directly of the Pleroma. He wrote as one who had seen, not as a scholar. In his sermons attributed to the ancient teacher Basilides, Jung describes the Pleroma as a field where all opposites are reconciled. There, he said, everything and nothing are the same. To the unawakened mind this is nonsense, but to the contemplative soul it is a revelation. In the Pleroma there is no light without shadow, no life without death. All distinctions dissolve into unity. For Jung, the Pleroma was not a place but a psychological truth, the original state of the psyche before it fragmented into the ego and the self. He believed that our spiritual task, our inner alchemy, is to remember this fullness, to draw together the broken pieces of the soul and return them to the wholeness from which they came. An old parable from the Desert Fathers speaks thus. A novice came to his master and said, "Father, I wish to return to God, but I do not know the way." The master replied, "You are like a drop of water who has forgotten the ocean. You think you are small, that the sand around you is your home, but you are already of the sea. When the sun calls you, you rise into the clouds, fall again as rain, and find your way home. All that time you were never apart from the ocean. You were its song." The novice wept, for he saw that his longing for God was God's own longing for himself, moving within him. This is the essence of Pleroma, the recognition that there is no separation between the drop and the sea. We are each droplets of the infinite, dreaming of distance, so that we might know reunion. To dwell in remembrance of the Pleroma is to walk with awareness between the worlds, one foot in time, the other in eternity, one hand tending to the tasks of the day, the other tracing the edges of the infinite. Such souls are rare, yet they have walked among us. I once said to a curious seeker who wondered why I wouldn't watch some of the conspiracy videos that she wanted me to watch. I am not seeking, I have already found. I never left me, I was always here, waiting to be rediscovered when I remembered who I am. Why do you still look outside? You are already here. Hildegard of Bingen, who saw the cosmos as an immense egg of light, singing with divine fire, and Jung himself, who whispered in his final years that God becomes conscious through us. These mystics were not fleeing the world, they were listening for the Pleroma's heartbeat within it. The danger, however, lies in mistaking fullness for light alone. The Pleroma contains both, the radiant and the terrible, the angelic and the abysmal. Jung warned that those who seek only light invite madness, for they forget that the Pleroma is beyond good and evil. It is the source of both. Thus, the true initiate learns to hold opposites in the same chalice, to accept that the serpent and the dove are born of the same mystery. In that acceptance they transcend the war within themselves. The Gnostics call this gnosis, not belief, but direct knowing. In a quiet valley there stood two wells, side by side. One was clear and glittering in the sunlight, its water sweet and bright. The other was dark, its depths hidden, its water cool and still. Travellers came often to the bright well, praising its beauty, drinking deeply from its shining surface. Few dared to approach the dark one, for they feared what might lie beneath. One summer a drought came upon the land. The bright well ran dry, its bottom cracked and empty. The villagers despaired, until an old hermit came down from the hills and knelt beside the dark well. He drew up a bucket, and from its depths poured forth the sweetest, purest water they had ever tasted. He said, "The soul is like these wells. The light one nourishes joy, but the dark one hides wisdom. Drink from both, and you will never thirst again." The Pleroma is vast beyond imagining, yet it is reflected perfectly in the human heart. The mystics say that within us is a hidden chamber, a temple not built by hands. When one grows still, when the clamour of the outer world fades, a soft radiance begins to pulse there. It's not imagination, it is a memory. You begin to sense that you are not a visitor to this universe, but part of its dreaming. The universe aware of itself, whispering, "I am." Every spiritual path, whether the chanting of monks, the whirling of dervishes, or the quiet of contemplatives, is in truth a single journey, the return to Pleroma. We seek what has never been lost. We strive to awaken to what has never slept. The Pleroma is not reached by travel, but by unlearning. Each false belief, each fear, each layer of ego peeled away, reveals a little more of the shining core within. And when that final veil is lifted, the seeker realizes they were never a seeker at all. The path, the pilgrim, the destination are all one. Jung once wrote that the modern soul suffers not from sin, but from meaninglessness. He saw in the ancient idea of the Pleroma a medicine for that despair. To remember the Pleroma is to remember that we are part of the cosmic story, far greater than our brief human dramas. The wound we carry, the conflicts we face, even the darkness we fear, are not signs of exile, but invitations to integration. Each sorrow properly understood becomes a bridge back to the wholeness, of which it is a fragment. The Pleroma is not far. It breathes through your every breath, listens through your every silence. The task is not to reach it, but to remember, to let go of the thought that we were ever apart. You are the fullness, remembering itself.